Let's continue with JavaScript implementation. Previously, we have seen this how to access ID for individual items. When I click on this pizza, I will click on inspect console. Now here I am having this object inside which we are able to access that particular ID and all the details related to that meal. And we are getting this error, add to DOM is not defined. We are just going to sort this in a minute. So as of now, we are successfully able to get the ID of every meal. Now here I will search for rice. Click on search. Here I am having two items. When I click on this, I will open inspect. Now in my console, if I open, I am having ID and all the data related to that meal. But if you see here, this is the array of meal. Inside this array, the first value is containing the object which is holding the entire data. So what we want to access before inserting the data inside the DOM, first we have to access the first item from the array. As of now, we have only one item because we are going to click on only single item, but still it is inside array. So we have to access the first index number, that is 0th index number. Let me just comment this out. Now here I am going to create one variable meal. Inside this I am just going to access the 0th index number from the meals array. So how we can access data dot meals. Inside this I am just going to give 0. This is our array name and this is the data which is holding the entire data from the API. Let me just log this, log, and here I will write meal. Save this, open inspect console. I'm just going to write here rice. Click on this. Now you can see I am able to access this. Totally, I am having two data, but when I clicked on this, I am successfully able to access the first index number which is matching this meal ID. Okay, do not get confused. This is the data which we are printing here for this one console log, which will be giving the entire data related to rice. And using this get single item ID, we are able to access the ID of individual item. And from there, we are just accessing the first item from the array. Let me just comment this out. And also, I'm just going to comment this out. This one, this console. I will copy this function. Now we are going to work on this function. Below this function to add meals to DOM. Function name, and inside this what we are going to pass, we are going to pass this variable which is holding our entire data meal, which is holding our data in object form. This data will be holding our entire data from which we have accessed the first item. So this meal will be having object data. Now inside this, let me just uncomment this one. I will comment it out. I will just write here rice again. Click on this, open inspect. Now if I just open this, you can see we have this ingredients, string ingredient 1, string ingredient 2. We are having this kind of data inside API. So this API keys are already defined. We cannot change this one. So using these keys only, we have to access all these ingredients, as well as using this measure, we have to access all these measurements. Now if you see here, for string ingredient 1, we have this chicken thighs, and below string measurement, this is 12. So this is the first ingredient and this is the measurement of first ingredient. Then this is the second ingredient. This is the measurement of second ingredient. Now what we want to do, using JavaScript, we have to combine both and display in such a way that both will come in this fashion. Let me show you. I will click on random. This one. We should be having this kind of data. We have ingredient and we have the measurement. We have ingredient and we have the measurement. So in this way, we are going to display the data. And for that, what we have to do, first we have to loop inside some loop, because we are having multiple data and one by one we cannot print this one. And this is kind of messy because we have so many ingredients and measurement is below. So we are going to use simple trick inside this function. I will come inside this function. Now inside this, what we will do, we will create one variable const ingredients and we will initialize as empty array. After that, what we will do, one by one, all the data we are going to push inside this array. Push inside the array, first we have to access all the data. So we are going to use for loop. Inside this, I will give I is equal to 1. I is less than or equal to 20. Why less than or equal to 20? Because maximum we are having 20 ingredients here. Not only here, if I click on this meal, maximum there are 20 ingredients and 20 measurements. And for some data, let me just write here pizza. Click on this, I will open. Now here if you see, for pizza, we are having only 11 ingredients and 11 measurements. 20 we do not have. So what we will do, we will be checking for the condition. Let me just increase the value each time. I plus plus. Inside this, first we are going to check for the condition. If ingredient is existing, only then we are going to access the values. If ingredient is not there, suppose if we are having only 11 ingredients, then we do not want to display empty blocks. So we are just going to break out of this loop. So what we will do, we will be writing our meal variable. As I told you, meal variable is an object. So to access any properties inside the object, we use dot. But meal itself is a variable. So to access that, we have to use like this square brackets. And inside this, let me just write here backticks. I will write string ingredients, whatever is present here. String ingredient, I will copy it here. And inside this, I'm just going to give the value of I, $I. First time, the value of I will be 1. Let me open this. First time, the value of I will be 1. It is going to check. It is going to check till 11. After 11, we do not have any data. So what we want to do, we just want to break outside of this. I will open this if, and here I'm just going to write else. In else part, I just want to come outside of this. So I'm just going to write break statement. Once the break statement is executed, again we will not come inside this and we are not going to execute any code inside this if. So first time my value of ingredient will be 1. So inside this what we have to do, inside this array, whatever data we want, we are just pushing inside this array. Now let me just write here ingredients dot push. Okay, this is array method push. Pushes, we are just going to insert the items inside that array. And here what items we have to put? Let me just write here dollar. I will be writing my meal variable. Inside square bracket, again we are just passing this string ingredient, copy, paste. And inside this also we have to pass here backticks. So do not get confused. This is our variable. So we are just writing all these things wrapping inside this template literal. So entire data we are just going to push inside this ingredients array. So this is our meal. Same we are just copying and we are wrapping inside one template literal. We have pushed. Next what we want, we just want the measurement. Together we want to display, together both we want to display ingredient as well as measurement. So I'm just going to write here hyphen, not here. Let me just remove this, and here I'm just going to put that hyphen because we have to write inside this push method itself. Copy this entire thing, and here I'm just going to paste. And in place of ingredient, we are just going to write string measure. I will come from here. We are just going to copy this. Now let me just write here log. I just want to print this ingredients. Save this. I will come to my project. I'm just going to write here pizza. Click on this. Open inspect. Now if you see here, I am having 11 items inside the array, for which we have water hyphen 150 ml, sugar 1 tablespoon, yeast 15 grams. So using this trick, we have easily accessed the ingredients and measurement together, and we have displayed. You can see whatever result we wanted, we successfully got the result. Now what we want, using this result, all the data related to that meal should be displayed in our browser. I will close this. So first what we have done, from this API data, we have accessed the first value. We are just clicking on only one item, but still we have to write here 0th index because the data is present inside the array. So all the data will be stored inside this meal. Once we get the data, what we have to do? We have to display the data inside the browser. So we are creating another function. We have created another function because the same logic we are going to use in random meal API. So 2 times we do not have to repeat the logic. So we are just creating one function and we can call multiple times. And inside this function, we are just passing this meal parameter, which is holding our entire data of that meal for which we have clicked. And here we have created empty array ingredients. Why? Because in that API, we have the data in messy form. We cannot access all the values individually because for some items we have 10 ingredients, but for some we have all 20 ingredients. So for that, we are just using for loop. Every time it is going to loop for 20 items. And here we are checking if our ingredient is existing, only then inside this ingredients array, we are going to push ingredient plus measurement. If the ingredient is not existing, then directly we are just breaking out of this and we will come outside of this and we are just displaying this ingredients. So next session, what we will do, all the data we are going to gather together and we are going to display in a browser.